Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. I started this playlist and series Community Concerns because I have more time to research. If you missed past week's installments, they are put into a playlist that could be started much like a podcast when you're deciding how many days you're going to go on a hunger strike to make CIG pay for the upcoming wipe. Consider bookmarking it and checking in every once in a while to get caught up to date with what the community is talking about. And if you find it fun, do me a favor and share it with a friend or orcmate. Today is the 5th of July 2022 and I try to do these on Tuesdays, choosing topics that are well presented and have a good banter back and forth. I will not be discussing people who are upset about the wipe, and I will not be discussing people who are upset that there's an event before a wipe, because that's all the same stuff, right? People are venting about things that they can't control and won't ever get a reply to their satisfaction, so it's a waste of time for me to post about it. So we begin with the threads, the other threads. And there aren't many. Vincent wants to know where Theater of War is. They feel that it's been more than long enough and they're asking for an update. Stuart said, "Do you remember Sadabal and Squadron 42? Yeah, well, it's exactly like that." Rain said to the OP, "It's more like iCache," and Mike said to the OP that it's a little bit like server meshing. Stuart then said correctly that it was demoed as a playable game at 2019 CitizenCon. Darlac said that they're probably working on the roadmap updates to answer the question, where is Theaters of War? To be determined. And others said that the entire purpose of that new 1,000 person office in Manchester was to work only on Theaters of War and not Squadron 42. Jokes aside, Theaters of War is just another joke or meme at this point. And if it was so important to push a bunch of effort into making it back then what changed? A little bit unprofessional and disingenuous to make a gigantic deal about something and then sweep it under the rug. So I understand where the OP is coming from. The company Firesprite was outsourced to work on it, and it had listed it on its wiki as TBD 2021, and then it was removed. And now we're in 2022. Ghosted. I would say to the OP that it's not being worked on and it's likely not coming out. It was probably a good idea perhaps at the time, and it's clearly no longer what the development is focusing on. Comment in the comments, do you care about TOE? Do you want it finished? Do you want an answer? Or are you okay to have it dormant? Next. Roxamars wants to know where the armor and physicalized damage is. They said, for reals this time, why is it taking so long? They feel that these are blocking up the whole development and acknowledge that any balance or tuning in the future will need to be redone when these systems are finally put in. They feel it's a huge waste of time, so where is it? Shadowtech offered a fantastic, helpful reply, basically shaming the OP as some sort of armchair developer. I'm going to answer the question as best as I can, saying that in a recent Star Citizen Live, John Crew had specifically talked about this and talked about the balance. He said that there were systems being worked on that would be needed before balance. He mentioned Gold Pass Standard. He mentioned physicalized components, damage propagation, physicalized damage before any sort of final balance could ever be started. He gave a general timeline and said that we should expect the beginnings of this to be at the end of 2022. And when that base was implemented, then they could do the balance. Comment in the comments, are you okay that all balance up until that point in 1 or 2 years is a placeholder? I'm going to link the post in the description so you can see firsthand how there can be 91 plus replies of bickering and banter back and forth without a single person bothering to answer the actual question. This is likely the reason that Spectrum has such a polarized reputation, right? Next, Silky Pigeon, with a join date of August 2013, has had it. They said, no more excuses CIG, and the developers need to fix this broken ass game. This is their words, not mine. With how long this supposed crap has been in development, it's shocking to them that practically anything to do in-game will put them at constant risk of death and losing their gear. No player should ever lose a piece of gear due to the game not working, and they need it fixed immediately. I'm shocked that this wasn't locked, like instantly, but we press on. Matthew said that Chris is likely more focused on ships than gameplay, which I flat out disagree with. As a content creator and a backer, I can tell you there's no scam here. Chris is focused fully on making his super ambitious project and is committing anything the community gives him and the project to the development. Any money coming in is going towards development. So no, Matthew, I don't believe Chris has lost focus and is just looking at ships. To Silky Pigeon, I'm going to say yes. I agree with you. Of course, it sucks to lose gear, and therefore any of the work that you've done to any game bug. It totally sucks, and it can be frustrating that things seem to be stalled, but I don't think that's the case. Appearing to be slower than what was promised? Yes. And this is not an excuse, but Chris does have a track record of doing this to overpromise and then shoot way over timelines and budget, right? So I fell for it too. We're all here together. I was at that CitizenCon in 2016 with that huge keynote that laid out all the major game loops that were going to be added in the next year. It was a PowerPoint presentation and my jaw dropped. We're a lot wiser now, and if the game isn't fun for you and you're not enjoying your time playing it, then don't. I'm sorry. That sounds really harsh. Complaining on Spectrum won't be seen as anything more than noise to the developers, and I don't personally have anything more constructive to say to the OP. This post is yet another where the community went over 242 replies discussing anything including promises, funding reports, charts, and did not address what the OP had actually posted. So everyone wanted to talk about anything but the OP's concern. Next, Citizen Forever Alpha, which is a great name, said that they believe the game is still pre-alpha, and yes, we're fucking back to this again, and they listed a bunch of upcoming features that aren't yet implemented, and they say that those are core, and therefore not alpha yet. 43 replies, 16 Picards. Hyperion Grass simply said that they don't understand why people are still debating if the project is an alpha, pre-alpha, or whatever. They said call it whatever you want. The term that's used to describe it doesn't change the state of the game or the state of its progress. Ramsey highlighted that they somewhat agree that CIG likes to invent terms to cloud any kind of metric of completion. And by that I assume they mean to say that CIG will say anything to distract from the timeline. Gold standard, pre-alpha. CIG will call something whatever it wants, and just because it means something to someone else in some other game project, we should not draw any correlation as fact. There is no answer to when, and therefore there's no fucking point in asking. We've already been told that. Wiggy1, who introduced themselves and presented themselves as a programmer, set about to copy-paste the entire wiki for programming. They decided to output all of the terms pre-alpha, alpha, beta, and release. They feel that the game is in alpha, but then they said that Star Citizen is a unique case, so they could be wrong, as it seems to have elements of alpha and beta at the same time. Which, is probably the whole point that we're still talking about this, and why CIG hasn't defined it, and probably why we should stop caring about it. And then I laughed as the OP Forever Alpha basically said, yeah, thanks, I read all of that, and thanks for making my point from the original post. Comment in the comments with your comments. Is it pre-alpha? Do you feel we're into alpha? Do you care? Comment on this or anything. That's it for the week. Thanks for your support, fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.